up as a bad subject. He is diplomatic, he is charming, he's young, and he's energetic. However, there are two other candidates who are both dead, one of whom is an incumbent mayor, and the other one who has fought vigorously as governor for one reason or another, including up to his own personal battle. However, there's a certain amount of loyalty or interest in the other Democrats. And so for that reason, I would accept some kind of amendment to, with the reservation that you vote for a Democrat of some sort, and I don't know how to phrase this.
For those of you who don't know me well, I identify as a progressive Zionist. I was raised by a father who lost family in the Holocaust and was a former member of the Communist Party. There are going to be 3 people on the ballot in November. One of them has some problematic issues if he were running to be ambassador to the UN or secretary of the state. The other, among the other 2, one of them will not, the women who work in the mayor's office will not be able to feel comfortable alone in a room with, and the other one has had criminal charges dropped from against him because he has kissed the ass of the man currently in the White House, who many of us are not thrilled about being in the White House. So as far as I am concerned, there is going to be only one Democrat on the ballot in November.
Yes, I did. Sure.
Hi, Janine Kiley. I hear that some of the candidates on the ballot in November used to run as Democrats. If they're not running as Democrats in November, if you don't want to vote for the resolution, vote no, but I don't want to parse words.
This is a motion, not a resolution.
So,
This is a motion.
it's, yeah, what we
Okay,
vote.
so
not a
they are
resolution.
registered Democrat, I can testify to that.
Yeah, but well, one of them lost, and one of them.
Agreed, I'm not arguing that, I'm just saying there's going to be people who have served as Democrats for a long time.
Yeah. Many of us criticize our colleagues who are Republican, who support Trump because of party unity. That to be, for the same reasons I criticize Republicans who support Trump only because of party unity, I am not supporting Mandami in this vote. And the reason for that is he's a socialist. We are Democrats. They are very different. And the concern that I have is that if we take our party and hand it over to a different party, we will lose many of the issues that are so dear to us. My concern in this case is that Mandami is offering everything to everyone. And he's claiming that he can pay for everything to everyone by raising certain taxes. The reality is he is not going to be able to, in Albany, raise those taxes. And at the end of the day, he's not going to be able to fulfill those promises that he's made to everyone and anyone. For example, he promises free child care for ages 5 to 6. It is estimated that that will cost $6 billion. He has promised free buses. That will also cost in the billions of dollars. He has also promised state-run grocery shops, city-run grocery shops. All of these promises cannot be met on our budget, which is already being pushed to the maximum. The reality is the socialist agenda is not the Democratic agenda. And because I stand firm on the Democratic agenda in this Democratic organization, I will be voting against the motion.
So I see Kim, we have Inez on, and then Shelley had her hand up, but now it's not. Mariama, and then Arthur, and then Maria. Okay, we have a lot. This is going to be a lively discussion. But we're Manhattan Democrats, so when is it not?
Thanks everybody. Listen, we have a Democratic nominee. Our Democratic voters went to the polls in June and elected somebody. We are Democratic district leaders. Our job is to represent Democrats in Manhattan, not to substitute our judgment for theirs. Donnie won the primary. He is a registered Democrat. He may be further to the left than some of the people on this room, some of the people in this room, but that's okay. We are a big tent. And I think it is ludicrous that we would consider not supporting our Democratic nominee, so I will be enthusiastically supporting the motion to endorse him.
All right. Inez, I'm gonna spotlight you. Yes, I can.
Thank you, and I agree that, about not endorsing Madami. I won't be endorsing Madami. I have worked with him in the assembly. I am acutely aware of his performance there as well as his attendance, within the assembly. Having said that, I agree, I am a Democrat. I am not a socialist Democrat. He has said, Madami has said he is a socialist Democrat. And he is free to be that, and anyone in any of the counties are free to be that. But because he is making promises that essentially he will not be able to keep, the unions are not going to go along. How will they contract be fulfilled if it's free? But how will the farmers maintain their farms and be able to even buy seed without getting paid? In addition, the farm bill has given victories for several years and it didn't work, particularly in black and minority communities, black and brown and other minority communities, building seats, affordable or otherwise. In addition to that, he has not set forth a black agenda that tells me about how, with all this that he's making promises, that I know he cannot keep because most of the stuff has to come out of the state and not from the city. He has not set forth how NWBEs and MBEs, how their contracts will be maintained. In addition, when he talks about all this money, I don't hear him attacking Con Edison, whose bills are enormously high, and seniors are getting very little help to be able to maintain having lights on in their apartment. So having said all that, I will be voting no about the endorsement for Madami.
All right. For my own risks, Sandy, I am going to actually adjust who we're going to first. I have Jasmine and then Magda, and I'm gonna adjust the schedule. Okay, Jasmine.
Awesome. So I agree with Kim on all the points that she mentioned. I'd also like to add that, Zoran turned out a critical population that has refused to come out to vote, which are our younger voters of 18 to about 34 years old. In my community specifically, our turnout rate was phenomenal. We have not seen that, and I looked at numbers, and he's mobilized people in each one of our districts that we cannot reach, and we have not been able to pull out. So the district leader position is one of the most hyper-local positions within our Democratic Party, and we need to support the Democratic nominee who has been able to turn out people into our party. This is how we expand our electorate. This is how we base build in our communities. It is not just one race, it is preparing us over the next 4 years, and we cannot pass on this opportunity. So I will be voting, if I'm allowed, to vote for Zoran Mondani.
So I think what I generally wanna say, my part is mostly NYCHA, a big portion of it. It's one of probably the largest parts in 65 down the Lower East Side. Most of NYCHA voted homo, right? Because they feel disenfranchised, they felt like the enemy of my enemy was my friend, right? But when you looked at the bigger part, it went Mondani, right? I think we need to leave our personal feelings when we go vote, and that we come here and represent our communities and what they put out. What's the purpose of a primary if then we're gonna sit here and question those results?
Arthur.
You know, I just wanna take people back to November 5th of last year. Were we depressed? Were we very depressed? Were we doing anything about it? Was there a women's march in the beginning of January? No. Were we we didn't know what to do? Were we in a party that we felt was adrift? Totally adrift. It's still nationally adrift. We just had Randy Weingarten, who's hardly a radical, quit from the Democratic National Committee because she felt it was directionless. David Hogg, who was trying to build some life in the party, was kicked out of the Democratic National Committee. Now let me tell you something. Now, we've seen some life over the last 2 months. There've been some big marches, but our party hasn't seen life like we saw it on the June 24th primary for a long time. Those are the people who voted in the primary, a vast majority, round 3, 56-44, supported Mondami. You know what? You call him a socialist. You don't want to support him because he's a socialist. You know what? I was Bernie Sanders' lawyer in 2016, and he gave a whole seminar about what's a democratic socialist. Oh, he believes in Medicare. He believes in free public schools, not vouchers. He believes in
Anti-death.
in free higher education. He believes in a socialist believes in public safety that isn't oriented towards putting people into jail. That's quote social. That's the kind of socialist Zoran is. He's not looking to seize the means of production and hand it over to the proletariat. Trump is doing that.
Well,
Use the word proletariat. So here we are with an opportunity to bring incredible life back into this party. He is going to bring life back into this party. And if people don't want to do that, then go join
the
Andrew
Republican.
Cuomo's new, whatever it's called, party, or Adams's Fight Anti-Semitism party. You know, all these people who want to fight anti-Semitism who aren't Jewish. I'm Jewish. I'm as Jewish as you get. I lost people in the Holocaust. I support Mondami all the way. Look at who is generating excitement in America. Who's going around to city after city after city? The socialist Bernie Sanders, the socialist DSA member Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 people showing up at rallies. Anybody else doing that in New York? Oh yeah, Zoran. And people want to say, I don't want him. He's not. You know, there were other Democrats. Let's go with Andrew Cuomo. He really excited a lot of people. How about Eric Adams? Has he excited a lot of people? Did he ever excite a lot of people? No. Because we are we have a word called district leader. District leader, we have to lead the party. And I just want to say, I sent around a resolution this morning. I showed it to our state senator Jackson. You know, as a substitute resolution, I believe he's okay with it. When we get to that part, I just want to make sure I don't get buried. Thank you.
Okay.
Point of information,
Yes, Shelley.
Mayor.
What's the question?
The question is, what do the party rules say to this question?
To my knowledge, nothing.
Article 2 says the Democratic Party will not discriminate on philosophy.
You are not a member.
I know, but you asked. So you're talking about socialism? You're talking about...
Oh, listen. If we have to go into executive session, we will. All right? This is a conversation with district leaders. Thank you, Chino. Thank you.
Keith, it's sorry.
I said thank you.
Okay.
Okay. E.
I support the resolution. I was
It's
just
not a
gonna-
resolution, it's a motion.
Motion, whatever you wanna call it. I
It's
support
a
it.
motion, it's not a resolution.
Great, motion. I support it. I was going to offer an amendment that we just endorse all the winners of the primaries for borough-wide and citywide. And I think this ties together that we're a party, we're a coalition. Never are all of us gonna see eye to eye on every issue. In this room, we don't. I'm sure when we voted 2 Tuesdays ago, we don't. I supported, for instance, Justin Brannon for comptroller, and our club endorsed him. He did not win. I intend to vote to endorse Mark Levine for comptroller tonight because our party went to the polls and made a decision. And, you know, while I know it can be appealing to take a stand against Mondani because you don't like this or that about his platform, the fact is that he's won the election. in the primary, and we all have, and I think he showed us tonight, that this is a guy who has the right intentions and he has an open ear and an open heart. And, you know, I would like to see him make more affirmative statements condemning anti-Semitism. I would like to see him have a much more detailed budget that's a little more grounded in fiscal reality. But I think he's gonna get there, because I'd rather see somebody who aims for the moon and lands among the stars than somebody like Andrew Cuomo or Eric Adams who aims for the gutter and lands low. So, you know, let's come together, let's endorse our nominees, and let's talk with hopefully future Mayor Mamdani, because I think he is gonna address the legitimate concerns that people.
Okay, well, then I'm against
No,
that
no, okay,
amendment.
hold on.
We should have the right
Hold
to
on,
support
hold
all
on.
the other
I've got
ones.
I've got other folks I'm
Amendments
working
marked
with.
off.
Maria.
Okay, to this stand, so you know I'm talking. Maria Ordonez from 70th Part B, just elected. I think I'm the youngest district leader here. Right now I'm 26 years old, unless, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I'm the youngest. And I'm part of the age group that elected Zoran and the part of the people who he mobilized. Like Senator Jackson said, he is the Democratic nominee. So people on Tuesday went out to vote for him, and he was elected by Democrats. I also want to say that he did something that no other Democrat could do in Manhattan County, in the city of New York. He mobilized and doubled the number of votes that came out on Tuesday. So I think this is someone we should be supporting, first of all, because he got the votes from Democrats. He's a Democratic nominee. And third of all, he showed up here. I think like E is saying, he showed up here, there's willingness to work with all of us. And what is the other option? Support a sexual predator? Or support someone who's working with Trump? I bet if Cuomo would have been elected, all of us who supported Zoran would have been told, you have to support a Democratic nominee. But here we are, now telling folks that support a Democratic nominee, and there's differences here, and I get it, but we have to coalesce behind a Democratic nominee. We do not want to be a party that is dysfunctional, divided on a Democratic nominee, really? I mean, I'm the youngest person here, and I think this is the right thing to do. Like, let's come together, let's bring that energy into Democratic clubs, let's bring that energy to county committees, to judicial delegates, let's work with him to do that. That was my question for him, by the way. If I would have been called, I would have asked him, how do we do that? How do we build that energy into our communities? Which we should, right? It's wonderful energy that we should build off from and build a progressive party that will work for our communities. And I know all of you don't agree on his platform, but he is here to work with us, and I think that is the first great step.
Okay, Mariam, what's the question?
Are the incoming district leaders allowed to vote?
No.
No, but I'll record it in the minutes if you want.
Actually, that's not true.
Let me get there, Arthur.
It's not true.
Let me get there, Arthur. Mariama.
The election law.
Arthur, let me get there. Mariama, you had your hand up.
I did have my hand up, yes. I will be voting yes on this motion. I would vote no on a resolution that I feel would be precedent setting, particularly for someone who didn't do what we're being asked to do right now. As far as I understand, he did not support Kamala 6 months ago, and neither did the DSA. They were very vocal as to not support her and called upon others to not support her. So I don't feel comfortable supporting a resolution that sings his praises, particularly when I have a lot of problems, a lot of concerns regarding his candidacy and his nomination, things with racial connotations and also similar to what Inez brought up, and also not being Jewish. I have a problem with the anti-Semitism as well. I was in part raised by a Jewish godmother, and it bothers me. So I have concerns. But again, I am a Democrat. I've been voting Democrat for 36 years, straight blue, with the exception of one time, I was probably about 18, 19, I voted for Ross Perot. But straight down ballot, I'm a Democrat. So I'm going to be supporting the Democratic nominee. However, as an individual, a private citizen, I will not be volunteering for the DSA. That's not something that I'm willing to do at all.
Right. Were there any other district leader hands up?
I just want a point of information.
Yes, what's the question?
1981 to 2025, I don't recall having this type of issue addressed in any campaign, and I was wondering why this was raised this particular year. We never have, as a district leader, as a county,
Not
going back,
supported the Democratic Party?
never have a county, the executive voted to support this type of motion. And my concern is because some of the ideas and the things, and Maria, I'm so glad that you're so young, okay? I am so glad that I'm this old, but I have like issues also about his campaign and how he addressed some of the issues. So I just why at this point in 2025, the executive committee of the Manhattan County have to have vote in support of whatever candidate, whatever his name is, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it's just that I have a problem with it. As a Democratic district leader, why are we having this particular issue? And we already know why. I don't need an answer.
Okay.
As a county leader, maybe Sharon has some.
Or maybe the maker of the motion, but I see William Allen, you have your hand up on Zoom.
Yes, thank you. I joined Maria. I don't recall ever.
Okay, thank you, William Allen. I do not see any further hands.
There's
Oh,
one
Betty,
hand up.
sorry.
I'm told that I have a voice and that I need to use it, so I'm gonna use it. I want to echo what Kim, Jasmine, and others have said. He is the Democratic nominee, and we are the Democratic Party. It is therefore our responsibility to support him and to help him win this race in the general. I think that we really need to take our cues from the voters. The voters have spoken, and eloquently. It was not a close vote. It was a very, very clear result. Doing anything other than listening to the voters is incredibly problematic.
Yeah, Richard, go ahead.
Yes, I would just like to respond to the questions that were raised about why do this now. I don't know the history here, obviously, this is my first day here, my first meeting. But look at the opposite. If we don't do something, that's as loud a statement as we could possibly get, that this Democratic Party in Manhattan does not support the Democratic nominee. That's the message that will occur, that will happen, that will be used, that will be promulgated by all of the PACs out there. They will say, aha, the Democratic Party does not support, the Manhattan Democratic Party does not, the leadership does not support its nominee. So it's not just a vote for, you have to be aware of what's going to be used and said if we don't vote for this.
Okay, I have hands on Zoom and I have hands.
Mine is very quick. I just want to say his name right. It's Mamdani.
It's as it's spelled.
Yeah.
Done, yeah. We have folks on Zoom who haven't spoken yet. Noreen. Oh, and Rob Gunn. Okay, go ahead, Noreen.
Hi there, I'm Noreen, 73rd AD, Lex Club. I support Mandani, I support this resolution. If nothing changes, nothing changes. The people have spoken. I think we do what Kim and many others have said. We support our Democratic nominee for what we do. Thank you.
Rob, you're on. But you gotta unmute.
I'll be quick. I agree with, I think what Kim started or
Second.
All right. So, can we start with a show of hands?
But do we resolve, well, there's no other question.
There's
one
vote on the separate way.
That's how it is.
So,
That's up on the table.
So, hold on. Are there any hands raised about calling the question?
It was second already.
It was seconded. Everyone has had the opportunity to object. Is anyone opposed to calling the question now? Great, okay. Can we start with a show of hands? Is that kosher?
Yes.
Point of information, who is eligible to vote tonight?
Can we start with a show of hands?
Barry, the election law says that district leaders have the same term as members of the county committee, that's section 2-106. The section on county committee says, members shall hold office until the next election and which members of the committee are elected. That was on June 24th. So nobody who was, so the term of the last district leaders ended on June 24th. At least in situations where there was no opposition, like in Richard's district. He's the district leader. There was, nobody voted. He didn't have to get certified by anybody. And I love EE, but his term is over. I mean, that's clear.
Whether or not the election. I'm not the commissioner, I apologize, but our friend.
I appreciate the raise.
Sorry, Mark.
Apologies to Mark Landis if he's on the phone. Yeah, so, I mean, the election hasn't been certified. If that's the case, then, I mean, there's county committee races outstanding, there's district leader races outstanding. So, no, the election hasn't happened, because for the election to happen, it has to be certified.
Yes, that's what
Well, okay, I have a, so can someone address the question about what happens if there was no opposition? You probably don't need that certified then, right?
And we don't need a motion, we don't need a motion.
Go ahead.
Has been to wait for certification for every single race. Our rules say that you have to be elected. Elected means the Board of Elections says you are elected. That is certification. That is for every single race, whether you have an opponent or not. It's too difficult, it would be too difficult to have a piecemeal situation where certain people are allowed to vote and certain people are not, right? Let's be consistent. Elected means certified, our voting membership remains the same. New members have been told that they be certified, they will sign their oaths of office, and they will take all future votes. Trust me, you'll have many votes to take.
I have a technical question on that. How is someone who is unopposed, this is my 23rd term. I have never had an opponent, and I have never received a notice of certification. I agree if it's a contested election, that's different. But we just, those of us who are unopposed, simply continue to serve. We receive no certificate of election. So I think that's moot and incorrect, at least in terms of the people who are not opposed. Paula.
My recollection in the past, and again, I have not been a district leader for as long as my co-leader, is that at the first meeting, after the vote is certified by the New York City Board of Elections, Barry Weinberg sits at the end of the table at the beginning of the meeting and has every one of us walk over at some point during the meeting and sign this certificate. So I believe that's what they've done, not 23 terms, but I think I'm only up to 14 terms. Would that be correct, Barry?
That is correct.
Not all of them are married.
That's correct.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna ask for a show of hands of the 2023 crop of district leaders. So that includes EE, that includes Jen, Joan, yeah, you know who you are. So if you are voting in favor of Mamdani, of the county party endorsing Mamdani, raise your hand. Okay. This is an official.
No, you're not 2023. No, 2023 crop. Then
requested a, roll call vote. So we're gonna do a roll call vote. It's good hygiene anyway. Good record keeping. Secretarial. Yeah. So. Yeah, Kyle, you. Okay, I am going to pull up the list and I'm going to call how you vote. I'm going to request that you tell me how you vote. If you are voting to endorse Mamdani as a county party, you will say aye. If you are voting to not endorse Mamdani as a county party, that's a nay.
No speeches?
No.
Hola!
Okay, I will start with, my phone? Yeah, that's good. I can name it off. Give me a second. Okay, so, first off, we will have Lee Berman. Or no, I'm sorry, first off, we'll have Vittoria Fariello, 61, A.
A.
Aye? You may abstain, yes. Okay.
Aye.
So, Victoria is an aye, great. Next up, Dennis Gold. Dennis is not here.
I have Dennis at 5.
Oh, you have, okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's yes on this.
He's a yes, okay, 61A, both voted yes. Carolyn Laskow,
Yes.
okay. Lee Berman.
Nay.
Magda Napoleon.
Aye.
Ron Thomas. Who I think was on. Mariama James,
Yes, aye.
okay. Paul Newell,
I have this proxy.
great. Virginia Lee.
Abstain.
Justin Yu. Arthur Schwartz.
Aye.
Jennifer Hoppy.
Aye.
Jean Kiley.
Aye.
E.E. Keenan.
Aye.
Yvette Powell. I'm sorry. There we go. Got it. That was a nay?
Nay, was Yvette Powell, nay.
Great, okay. Josh Kinberg. Pat Still.
Aye.
John Wallmeyer.
Aye.
Janice Oppenheimer.
Aye.
Richard Oppenheimer.
Aye.
Hilda Solomon. Eddie Gibbs. Claudia Perez. Harry Rodriguez. Melissa Mark Viverito. John Ruiz Miranda. William Smith. Tamika Mapp.
Aye.
Daniel Marks Cohen. He was on Zoom.
Was on the front side.
All right, I guess he probably got off.
He transferred.
So, then, we have Teresa Cantor.
Aye.
Joan Palo.
Aye.
Pablo Zavallos.
Aye.
Paula Diamond Roman.
Aye.
Curtis Arluck.
Aye.
Cordell Clare. William Allen. Inez Dickens.
Nay.
Wilma Brown Phillips. Keith Wright.
Oh, aye.
Keith is an aye, Kyle. Norma Campusano. Corey Ortega. Maria Luna.
Abstain.
Maria abstains. Robert Jackson.
Yes.
Ernestine Bell Temple. Ernestine's an aye. Al Taylor.
Aye.
Maria Murillo. Adriano Espaillat. Gabriel de la Cruz. Manny de los Santos. Manny votes aye. Merrill Brodsky.
Abstention.
Merrill abstains. Corey Evans. Sue Moss.
No.
Sue votes no. Jake Delamani.
Jake's proxy, he is a nay.
Okay, Jake is a nay. And Noreen.
Aye.
Noreen is an aye. Russell Squire.
I have proxy and it's abstain.
Russell abstains. Aura Olivaria. Marquise.
Marquise Jenkins, out of proxy, aye.
Okay, so Aura abstains and you vote aye?
No, out of that, aye.
Okay, you both vote aye. Great, thank you. Myrna Lepre. Tom Neuter.
Aye.
Tom votes aye. Sandro Sherrod. Sandro votes aye. Michelle Winfield.
Aye.
Michelle votes aye. Reshma Patel.
Aye.
Mike Corbett.
Aye.
Layla Lagisico.
Aye.
David Warren.
Aye.
Paul Devlin. Adrian Ford. Rebecca Weintraub.
Aye.
Ben Axelrod.
Aye.
Kim Mascrotolo.
Aye.
Gabriel Panic.
I have his proxy, he's an aye.
Okay, that overwhelmingly passes. I will let Kyle tally the weighted vote and the votes. Just as a straw poll for my own privilege, I would be interested in hearing how the incoming district leaders vote.
Aye.
Jasmine Sanchez is aye. Argentina Cruz abstains. Who else we got? Mar?
Aye.
Okay. Joan?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Luis?
Aye.
But I have a point of information. Is there a way to, I don't know if you share the votes? Are they public? Can we see them?
Yeah, we publish also.
Okay, perfect. Oh, when they're.
Jackie?
Jackie left.
Okay, and no, please, no, Carol, Jackie, last Jessica Kramer? Jessica? Okay, all right, so, yes.
I just wanted to say to the body, Michelle Winfield from 74. I want to say to the body,
Quiet,
Joe
everybody,
Morrison,
please.
aye. Robert Gottheimer's aye. Sorry. Is Diana Chardo district leader? I don't know that name.
No.
And. Okay, great. We've taken the vote, we've taken the straw poll, the incoming district leaders mostly support Zohran Mamdani. So we have endorsed, there's no question as to whether it would have done one way or another, the county is endorsing Zohran Mamdani for mayor. Okay, county leader, it is now 7:13 p.m.
It's getting late.
I know it's late, but I want.
I'm sorry, Shelley, any question?
That's all right. This isn't a question, it's a statement. I know it's late, but before coming here and receiving, the reso, I reviewed the Samuel J. Tilden, Democratic bylaws, and it's very clear. What's in your bylaws? Ours are very clear. You win, we support you. It says that. We endorse you.
Got it. That is a useful artifact for us to look to for some principled guidance. County leader.
We now have committee reports.
Oh, you're not doing your report.
I think I'm reporting out. You want a slow roll call that week?
No. All right. Well, you want to make a motion?
So I'd like to make a motion to endorse the rest of the Democratic slate.
I second that.
It's okay. Take it.
Corbett motion. Rebecca seconded.
My acclamation if possible.
Just hands up.
All those in favor of Brad Hoylman and Mark Levine?
Yeah, we thank
Okay.
Any
Now,
negative?
hands down if you don't want county to endorse those people. Now,
I said that.
raise your hand if you don't want us to endorse those people. I don't think. Wait, we have committee reports, then we have open. So judiciary, Curtis, Rebecca.
Judiciary.
I'd be happy to